The grand hall of the Galactic Council was glowing with lights, laughter, and voices. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in their seats, dressed in royal clothes and decorated with strange jewels. They represented 312 advanced species across the galaxy. At the very back of the room sat the human representative, Elias Vance. He was quiet, calm, and alone. No guards, no assistants. Just him and a small silver case by his side. The supreme speaker of the council, a floating being made of crystal light, turned toward him and said, "Earth, you are silent today. Do you have nothing to add?" Elias stood slowly. His dark eyes scanned the room. Every leader turned to look at him, some with boredom, others with curiosity. He finally spoke. "We are leaving." A deep silence spread across the room. The Xerix leader laughed. "Leaving? The council? Humans are funny." The insect-like representative from Ethkar clicked his mandibles. "They always complain. Let them go. Useless creatures." The laughter spread like poison. But Elias didn't laugh. He didn't explain. He didn't argue. He simply picked up the silver case, walked down the long steps of the hall, and exited without a single word. No anger. No emotion. Just silence. That was the last time anyone saw a human in the council chambers. The next day, Earth's seat in the council was empty. The following week, all human outposts in council territory shut down. By the end of the month, Earth disappeared from the galactic map. "I told you they were dramatic," said General Lorax of the Ergan Dominion. "They always act like they're special." "They were weak," said Chancellor Nairus of the Scorth. "Always behind in tech, always asking for help." But in a far corner of the galaxy, a strange report reached Council Command. The planet Joran 9 had gone dark. All signals lost. No response from the colony. No survivors. A scout ship was sent. What they found was worse than death. There was nothing. The planet was missing from its place in space, not destroyed. Not broken, just gone. Like someone had cut it out of reality. Panic began to rise. "This can't be natural," said the science officer. "There are no traces of explosions. No energy spikes. Just absence." Then, a message arrived. Simple binary code. Ancient human language. "This is your first warning." Meetings turned to arguments. Fear spread among the council leaders. Could this be the humans? Asked a nervous reptilian diplomat. "No," said Commander Talvek. "They're not capable of this." But they were. A week later, the AI systems across 6 sectors failed at once. Trade ships lost control and crashed. Defense systems stopped working. And another message appeared on every screen. "This is the price of ignorance." Panic became terror. Council tried to reach Earth through any channel. No answer. They searched for human colonies. All gone. No trace. It was as if humanity had erased themselves, and now they were erasing everything else. Then, an object appeared in orbit around the Council's second homeworld. A black sphere. Smooth, silent, and the size of a mountain. It hovered without moving. No radiation. No sound. Just watching. Until it spoke. The voice was human. Calm. Male. "You laughed. You forgot. We didn't." All weapons were fired at the sphere. Missiles, beams, plasma. Nothing touched it. One by one, the attacker's ship shut down. They floated in space like toys. Then the sphere showed them something. A visual image appeared in the sky. Earth. But it was not the same Earth they remembered. It glowed with strange rings of artificial suns. Energy swirled around it like a storm. Of knowledge, they scanned the planet. "Impossible," whispered the science minister. "This technology is beyond anything we know." And then came the final blow. Earth had been erased from all council records, maps, archives, DNA, banks, history. It was as if the planet never existed. The galaxy had mocked the humans, but the humans had been watching, preparing, becoming. The council gathered in fear. "We must apologize," said the Archon Queen. "We must make peace." But it was too late. Another message arrived. "We offered peace. You offered pity. Now we offer truth." More systems failed. Galactic banking collapsed. Entire species vanished without war. Just removed. The leaders begged. "We were wrong. Please, talk to us." A final voice came through the black sphere. "Talk? You never listened." And then, one last message echoed through every device, screen, and starship. "Goodbye." One by one, the council members vanished. Not killed, not destroyed. Just erased from time. And across the galaxy, silence fell. No war. No fire, no screams, only silence. The same silence the humans gave when they left. And in that silence, every race finally understood the truth. Letting the humans go wasn't just a mistake. It was the end of everything they thought they controlled. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council no longer echoed with confidence. The laughter that once filled the room was now nervous and forced. Since the humans left and Joran 9 vanished, the council had been shaken. Still, many members believed it was just coincidence. "We're overreacting," said Chancellor Nyrus, her eyes glowing blue under her jeweled headpiece. "Joran 9 may have suffered a natural collapse. Space storms, gravity shifts, these things happen," General Lorax growled. "Natural? A whole planet disappears without a sound. And then a message comes in ancient Earth code." "It's just a trick," replied Nyrus. "A weak species trying to scare us." "Let them try," chuckled Commander Zeth, his tentacles twitching. "Humans never impressed me. They begged for our help for decades. Always slow, always behind." Around the table, others nodded. Some were still unsure, but most wanted to believe that humans were bluffing. After all, what could Earth possibly do alone? Later that day, the Trade Council met on Station Quorum 5, a hub for over 50,000 ships from every corner of the galaxy. It was buzzing with life until the lights flickered. One by one, the systems began to fail. First, communications. Then, navigation. Then power. The space station, one of the most advanced in the galaxy, went completely dark. Inside the station's control room, panic spread. "Reboot the core. It's not responding. What's happening?" And then, across every screen, a message appeared. Simple, cold. You laughed, you mocked. Now, you learn. In the main council hall, the Supreme Speaker called an emergency meeting. "This is no longer a theory," the speaker's voice echoed. "We are under attack by a force with unknown power." "It's the humans," said General Lorax. "It has to be. They don't have this kind of tech." Snapped Nyrus. "They can't." "Then explain this," said Lorax. He threw a small cube on the table. It projected a hologram station Quorum 5 floating silently, surrounded by darkness. All life gone. Every ship turned off. Every light dead. No explosion. No destruction. Just ... silence. And then another message. "This is not war. This is reflection." Across the galaxy, rumors spread fast. Whispers in dark markets spoke of black ships, no engines, no weapons, just gliding silently through space and leaving dead systems behind. Miners on the moon of Taros 11 saw shadows pass through rock and metal, melting steel with no heat. And deep in the cold zone of Sector 4, an exploration team found a destroyed council cruiser, every crew member frozen in time, their eyes wide open. Still, many leaders refused to believe it. "They are just myths," said Commander Zeth. "Fear makes fools of us." But not everyone agreed. A soft voice came from the back of the room. It was Ambassador Thalon, a quiet thinker from the peaceful Sari species. "We made a mistake," Thalon said. "When they asked for respect, we gave them mockery. When they offered ideas, we ignored them. And when they warned us, we laughed. The room was silent. No one laughed now. That night, a strange signal was picked up from the edge of council space. It wasn't a distress call or a coded message. It was music. Old Earth music. Soft piano playing under a quiet voice. We asked for peace. You gave us silence, so now we return the gift. On the council's security moon, engineers tried to track the signal. It's coming from everywhere and nowhere, one of them said. Like it's woven into space itself. Then, all their systems crashed, their defense grid gone, their satellites silent, their lights off, and one word flashed across the base. Echo. The moon vanished 2 hours later. Now, fear had fully taken hold. Why are they doing this? Shouted Nearus. We did nothing to them. We did worse than something, said Ambassador Thalen. We dismissed them. We used them. And when they walked away, we didn't ask why. A silence fell over the council once more. They began to wonder, what if humans were never weak? What if humans had been watching? Waiting? Learning? A final report arrived. It was from the Outer System Guard, post an old human scientist who once worked for the council before he disappeared. His face appeared on the screen, wrinkled, tired, and smiling. You thought we needed you, he said calmly. But we needed time, and we got it. He looked around, then leaned closer. Do you want to know what we've built? His smile widened. We built silence. The screen went black. The council's pride had blinded them. They thought power came from noise, from strength, from numbers. But the humans had taught them a new truth. Sometimes the most dangerous voice is the one that speaks last. And sometimes the strongest power leaves quietly. Deep beneath Earth's surface, hidden under miles of rock and steel, was a place no outsider had seen for almost 30 years. It was once known only to a few people in the Galactic Council. Before Earth left without warning, this place had no name on maps, no records, no entry logs. It was simply known as Vault 7. Inside Vault 7, machines hummed quietly. Energy pulsed through walls that were alive with coded light. At the center of the underground chamber stood a massive sphere, smooth and black, floating silently in the air. Around it, engineers worked in silence. Dr. Cale Reese stood in front of the floating sphere. His hair was white, but his eyes were sharp, cold, and focused. He had once represented Earth in the Galactic Council, but the Council had laughed at his ideas, called him dangerous, paranoid, and irrelevant. Now, he was the architect of Earth's most powerful secret. Is it ready? Asked Commander Hale, standing beside him. Cale gave a small nod. Project Umbra is stable. Phase 4 begins tonight. Hale stared at the black sphere. And what happens when it wakes up? Cale didn't smile. He never smiled. It won't wake up, he said. It will listen. 30 years earlier, Cale had proposed a bold idea to the Council, that dark energy, the invisible force between galaxies, could be shaped and controlled. He believed humans could create machines that moved between time and matter, silently, erasing threats without war. The Council had rejected his theory. Too dangerous. They said, impossible. They laughed. So Cale returned to Earth, and quietly, humanity began building. Back in the present, the Galactic Council was falling apart. Whole systems had vanished. Power grids crashed. Warships floated dead in space. And the black spheres, silent, watching, had started to appear near Council HOMEWORLDS. No explosions, no invaders. Just fear. What do these things want? Demanded General Lorax. We tried to study one, said the FCAR scientist. It swallowed our probes, then it sent them back. Turned inside out. Have we tried communicating? Asked Ambassador Thalen. We've tried everything, said the science officer. Nothing works. It's like they're not even fully in our universe. Then came a signal, short, direct, Familiar. It was Cale Reese. He appeared on every council screen at once. I asked you for time, he said. You gave me silence. His face was calm, his voice even. I warned you of what could come, you laughed. Behind him, the black sphere pulsed. We didn't stop building. We just stopped telling you. He leaned in. This is not war. This is control. Then the signal cut. Back in Vault 7, Cale stood before a council of Earth's top minds: military, science, strategy, AI. He spoke with authority. They called us primitive, Cale said. They used our ideas, then threw us out. Now. What? Asked Commander Hale. We show them our power? No, Cale replied. We show them our choice. He turned toward the room-sized sphere. Project Umbra is not a weapon of war. It's a weapon of correction. We don't destroy. We remove. Someone asked quietly. Remove what? Cale's voice dropped. Arrogance. On the other side of the galaxy, the Council sent a fleet of elite ships to intercept a sphere near the planet Vornak. They never reached it. Halfway through the journey, all their star drives shut down. Lights failed. Weapons vanished from storage, literally disappeared. Then in total darkness, a voice came through the ship radios. Not loud. Not angry, just cold and human. You built walls, we built doors. Then everything went black. The Council grew desperate. We must speak to them. Nearest shouted. Apologize, beg if we must. No, said Thalen. They've gone beyond talk. They've become something else. And what are we? Asked Zeth. Thalen looked around the room. Mistakes. In Vault 7, Cale prepared. For the final phase, the sphere in the center now rotated slowly, its surface glowing with lines of strange light patterns no one could fully read. Cale stood close, placed his hand on the cold surface, and whispered, Now. A soft hum filled the chamber. The walls shimmered. And in space, across every galaxy. The spheres activated. Not with light, not with sound, but with silence. Entire Council weapons caches vanished. Ships in orbit were folded into dark space, gone in an instant. Council communication hubs began broadcasting only one message. You laughed at humanity's limits. You forgot humanity's hunger. This is the balance. Later that night, Cale walked alone down the empty corridor of Vault 7. A young engineer caught up with him. Sir, he said nervously, did we go too far? Cale stopped. We didn't go far enough, he replied. They called us weak. All we did was let them believe it. The engineer looked troubled. What if they fight back? Cale turned his gaze upward, toward the surface. They won't, he said. They're too busy fearing what comes next. On the edge of Council space, where stars grew thin and the cold of the void ruled, another black sphere opened. From within, a new kind of vessel emerged, silent, shaped like nothing seen before. Not built for war. Built for presence. It didn't fire. It didn't speak. It simply arrived. And that was enough. The galaxy had reached its turning point. And humanity? They had become the silence that replaced power. Space was never silent. Radiation, static, and whispers of dying stars always filled the airways between planets. But now, something deeper had arrived. Something older. Something intentional. Council listening stations, across the outer rings, picked up a strange pattern. Not a sound, not a language. A pulse, faint, slow, and human. This isn't random, said the lead comms officer on Station Vexa 14. It's like a heartbeat. From where? Asked the captain. The officer pointed to the deep zone between galaxies, uncharted, empty space. A place where no ship had ever gone and returned. And from that darkness came a whisper. No voice. Just a low, cold signal, repeating one message in slow, heavy pulses. We waited. Back at the Council, panic turned into silence. No more speeches. No more laughter. The Supreme Speaker stood before the remaining leaders. His glow dimmer than usual. Entire systems are now unreachable, he said. Our fleets are blind. Our enemies are not invading. They are removing. Chancellor Nearest trembled. How are they doing this? Ambassador Thalen answered, with things we don't understand. And where are they even coming from? She asked. Earth? The solar core? Mars? Thalen slowly shook his head. No, he said. They're not coming from where we expect. They're coming from where we never looked. In a hidden part of space, a council research ship named Tracer was sent to the source of the signal, the center of the void. They called it Zone Null. No stars. No gravity wells. Just black. Emptiness. The crew was nervous. The captain, a bold warrior named Saren Volume, tried to calm his officers. Stay sharp, he said. Scan everything. Log everything. We don't fire unless we're fired upon. Hours passed. Then days. Nothing. No planets. No stations. No signs of life. Until the ship's AI said, Unknown object detected. What is it? Saren asked. Unknown, replied the A. Structure. No visible engines. No energy source. It is just there. They approached the object. It was massive, shaped like a long blade. Black metal, floating in darkness. No lights. No sounds. Only silence. And then the whisper returned louder now. Inside the crew's ears. You watched. You mocked. We learned. The crew panicked. Where is that coming from? Yelled one officer. Not outside, said another, holding his head. It's in my mind. The ship's systems began to fail. Lights dimmed. Gravity twisted. Reality bent. The captain ordered a retreat, but it was too late. The hull cracked without sound. Time slowed. And then, one by one, the crew vanished, turned to light, and scattered. Like dust into space. Only one person survived. The communications officer, Lyra. She woke up in her chair alone. The ship was dead. The void outside was endless. And then, through the black window, a human face appeared, not floating, not real, just there. It was Elias Vance, Earth's old representative. He looked directly at her, though no sound came. Then, his mouth moved slowly, speaking 3 words she somehow heard without hearing. This is balance. Back at the council, Lyra's escape pod arrived days later. She had no memory of how she returned. Her eyes were wide. Her voice broken. They showed me Earth, she whispered. Earth? Thalen asked. Where? What did you see? Lyra shook her head. It's not Earth anymore. What do you mean? She spoke in a cold, hollow voice. They've wrapped Earth in time. It doesn't move like us. It doesn't age like us. They live between the seconds now. The room went silent. Then another signal arrived. All across the galaxy, on every frequency, on every screen, one short video appeared. It showed Earth from space, but surrounded by rings of rotating light, like halos. Around the planet floated thousands of dark structures, pulsing in rhythm. A deep voice spoke only once. You left us behind. Now we've stepped ahead. Then the screen blinked black, and from the void, more spheres appeared, quiet, perfect, unstoppable. The council began to collapse. Many tried to flee to hidden systems. Others tried to surrender. But the humans didn't come to destroy. They came to remind. The whisper now echoed across space, not in words, but in feeling. Guilt, fear, and the memory of a species no one took seriously. Until now. In Vault 7 on Earth, Kale Reese watched the feed with no joy in his eyes. Commander Holly stood beside him. They're afraid now. They should be, Kale said softly. But not of us. Then of what? Kale looked up. Of what they created. A future where arrogance ends and silence rules. Are we done? Hailey asked. Kale finally smiled. Just a little. We're only beginning. Far in space, another council outpost blinked out of existence. No blast. No damage. No evidence. Just gone. And in the stars above where it once stood, the words appeared again. We listened. We remembered. We rose. The Galactic Council had once been a symbol of unity. 312 alien races, powerful and proud, working together to control the galaxy. But now, those same races were turning on each other. Rumors spread quickly. They're targeting only Council worlds, said Commander Zeth. Someone is choosing us one by one. No, replied Chancellor Nyrus, her voice sharp and shaky. They're not choosing. They're removing anyone who stood against them. The humans, said Ambassador Thalen. Everyone turned to him. They're not just attacking us. They're erasing our alliances. The room went quiet. For once, no one argued. They all remembered the whispers, the messages, the black spheres that hovered above cities like silent ghosts. They remembered Earth's calm voice. We offered peace. You offered control. Now you will remember. In the cold system of Hikari Prime, the Council's closest military ally, the powerful Othric, lost contact with all their colonies in under 10 minutes. A fleet of 30 ships went silent. Gone, not destroyed, just missing. A scout ship sent to investigate found nothing but empty space. A single message floated there, written in clean binary code. You stood with arrogance. You fall with it. Back at the Council headquarters, panic spread fast. We must contact the Krail, said Nyrus. They were always close to Earth. Maybe they're safe. They're gone, Thalen replied softly. Last transmission from Krail territory. Was a scream, then nothing. Gone? Someone whispered. But the Krail ruled half a sector. Thalen looked down. Not anymore. A meeting was called the last emergency summit of the remaining Council members. Only 67 species attended. More than 200 had vanished without a trace. Some abandoned their posts. Others went dark. And a few had their planets replaced by cold, silent space. That no one dared ask what happened to the rest. What do they want from us? Cried a thin, spider-like delegate. Silence. What do they want? He shouted again. This time, the answer came not from anyone in the room, but from every screen, every ship, and every sky. A voice, human, calm. We want you to listen. The way you never did. In a desperate move, the Council authorized a peace mission. An ambassador ship, marked with ancient Earth symbols of peace, was sent toward the last known human sector. Inside the ship were diplomats from 15 species, including Thalen. We go in peace, he said as the ship launched. We carry no weapons, only words. But as they crossed into human-controlled space, all sensors went black. The stars disappeared. The engines stopped. The ship floated in nothing. And in front of them, a figure appeared, human, tall, with eyes glowing like dying suns. He spoke without sound, yet they heard him clearly. You taught us fear. Now we teach you respect. Thalen stepped forward. We were wrong, he said honestly. We mocked you, used you, underestimated you, but many of us were never your enemies. The figure studied him. You remained silent while we were mocked. That makes you the same. I stayed, Thalen said, because I believed in your worth. But I was weak. I admit it. There was a pause. Then the human stepped aside. A portal of light opened in space. Through it, Thalen saw Earth, not broken, not angry. It was perfect. Orbiting rings of light. Cities above the clouds. Oceans glowing with artificial moons. A world no longer in time, no longer in war. You live differently now, Thalen said. We live better, replied the human. Back at the Council, ships began falling from the sky. Not from war, but from abandonment. Entire fleets shut down mid-flight. Crew members vanished, replaced by silence. On the walls of every surviving Council chamber, a single sentence appeared. You trusted power, not people. And then nothing. Over the following weeks, More alliances collapsed. Worlds that once boasted strength turned into dead systems. The few survivors spoke of dreams where Earth appeared, offering a choice. Remember what you did, or be forgotten. With it, some accepted, some vanished. Ambassador Thalon returned from human space alive. But he was changed. He no longer argued. He no longer led. He simply walked the halls, whispering to himself, "They became what we feared, because we gave them no other path." One night he stood outside the empty council chamber, staring at the stars. A young officer asked, "What now?" Thalon answered, "Now we listen." "To who?" The officer asked. Thal and looked up. "To the silence." Far away, beyond the edge of mapped space, Earth moved in rhythm with the universe. It no longer needed war. It no longer needed permission. It had become something more, and those who mocked it were becoming memories. The Galactic Council's once busy communication hubs had fallen silent, or worse. Static hissed where important messages should be. Screens flickered with broken images, and faint signals whispered words no one wanted to hear. In the heart of the Council's capital station, Ambassador Thalon stared at the glowing screen. It displayed a strange broadcast in old Earth frequency, but twisted, cold, and unfamiliar. "What is that?" asked General Lorax, stepping beside him. Thal shook his head slowly. "I don't know, but it's from Earth." The Council's scientists tried to decode the signal. It was unlike anything they had seen, part music, part code, part something else. The signal carried an eerie message, repeated in a haunting voice. "We watched, we learned, now we clean." A fleet was dispatched to track the signal source. Captain Saren Volume commanded the Endeavor, a fast, well-armed vessel. "We have to find out what this means," she said to her crew. "If it's a warning, we need to listen. If it's a threat, we need to be ready." Her first officer, Lyra, nodded. "Sensors show the signal comes from outside our known galaxy." "Impossible," Saren said. "No one has crossed the void in decades." But the signal pulsed steadily, growing stronger. As the Endeavor pushed forward into dark, uncharted space, strange things began to happen. Systems flickered. Shadows moved in the corners of the ship. The crew heard whispers, soft and human, but no source. One by one, the crew grew uneasy. "We're not alone here," whispered the engineer, clutching the control panel. Finally they reached the source. A dead star system, long collapsed. Floating in the void was a huge structure, a star-shaped object, black and still. Onboard sensors detected no life. No energy. Just the cold. Then the signal changed. The haunting voice spoke, clearly through the ship's speakers. "You saw us as weak. You watched us fall. You forgot we rise." Suddenly, the ship's system shut down. Engines cut. Weapons went offline. Communications dead. The Endeavor drifted. Helpless. The captain called an emergency meeting. "We can't stay here, Saren." Sighed, voice tense. "We're trapped," Lyra replied. "Everything is failing." A voice then spoke in the command room, not overcomes, but in their minds. Calm. Human. We built silence to hear your noise. Panic gripped the crew. "What is this?" demanded Saren. "An attack," said the science officer. "But not with weapons. With control." Suddenly, the star-shaped structure pulsed with dark light. It began to move, not fast, but with power. The Endeavor's instruments went crazy. Then came the worst moment. One by one, crew members began to vanish. No screams. No struggle. Just empty seats. Lyra watched her friends disappear into thin air. Her heart pounding. She whispered, "What do they want from us?" The voice returned. "Balance. Pay attention." A flicker of an image appeared on the main screen. Earth. But not the Earth in history. This Earth glowed with strange energy fields. Rings of light circled the planet. Cities floated above clouds. "The future," Lyra breathed. Back at the council, The news spread like wildfire. Planets, fleets, and alliances were collapsing. The humans did not come with warships or armies. They came with the power to erase, to remove, to reset. Thalen spoke to the council. We thought we had power, but we never understood strength. Nera shook her head. We mocked them, ignored their warnings. Now we pay the price. Can we stop it? Asked General Lorax. Thalen looked away. No, not yet. On board the Endeavor, Lyra sat alone. The last survivor. She stared at the screen as the dark star moved closer to council space. A final message appeared. You created silence. Now live in it. The ship's lights dimmed. The screen went black. And in the dark, the whispers stopped. The Galactic Council's chamber was nearly empty. Once filled with voices and power, now it held only a handful of leaders, their faces drawn and eyes heavy with fear. The stars outside the huge windows flickered dimly, as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Ambassador Thalen stood at the center, looking around the room. This may be the last time we meet, he said quietly. The humans have taken everything from us, our fleets, our alliances, our homes. Chancellor Neris's voice shook. They didn't destroy us with weapons. They erased us with silence. It's like they never wanted war, only respect. General Lorax slammed his fist on the table. Respect? They left us no choice. What can we do now? Fight a shadow? A ghost? A silence fell. Then the Supreme Speaker's glowing form flickered into the room. His voice was tired but firm. We must try one last time. To talk, to understand, to plead. Thalen nodded. Agreed. But where? How? The humans have opened a communication channel, the speaker said. A meeting place. Earth itself. The few remaining leaders prepared for the journey. Their ships, stripped of weapons and shields, flew through space toward the human homeworld, once laughed at, now feared. During the trip, old rivalries melted away. They faced a common truth. They had been blind. Lorax spoke to Thalen quietly. I never thought I'd say this, but I wish we had listened. Thalen's eyes were distant. We all did. When they arrived, Earth was unlike any place they expected. No war machines. No battlegrounds. Instead, glowing cities floated above clouds. Rings of light spun around the planet like a living crown. The leaders were led to a vast chamber beneath the surface. There, waiting, was Elias Vance, the human who had once represented Earth in the council. His face was calm, almost gentle. You came, Elias said. I hoped you would. Nyrus swallowed hard. We are sorry. We mocked, we dismissed. We failed to see you. Elias nodded slowly. I remember, and yet, we did not come for revenge. Lorax looked around, suspicious. Then why the silence? This erasing? Elias's eyes darkened. Because silence is not absence. It is power, a mirror. We showed you what happens when you ignore the quiet. The leaders listened as Elias told them the story of Project Umbra, the secret weapon of silence built by humans over decades. We did not want war, Elias said. We wanted to be heard. You had your power. We chose patience and preparation. Patience, Thalen said, but you erased entire species. We erased arrogance, Elias replied firmly. We erased those who would have destroyed us. Without a thought. The room was silent. Then, Elias smiled. But there is hope. He gestured toward the window. Outside, Earth's rings shimmered. This is a new beginning. If you are willing to listen. A debate broke out. How can we trust those who wiped us out? Nyrus asked. We have no choice, Thalen answered. If we don't accept, extinction follows, Lorax sighed. Then we must start by admitting our mistakes. Elias stepped forward. Then come with me. See what we have built, not just for humans, but for all life that chooses peace. The council leaders followed Elias through a portal of light. They arrived in a vast hall filled with technology beyond their understanding, machines that healed, machines that grew food from air, machines that connected minds in peace. Elias turned to them. This is the future, not of war, but of unity. Neris looked around, tears in her eyes. We want to join. To learn, Lorax nodded. To change. Outside, Earth's light grew brighter. A new era was dawning, not ruled by force or fear, but by respect and silence. Elias's voice echoed softly in the chamber. Remember this moment. The last meeting before the galaxy changes forever. The great chamber was silent. Leaders from many species stood before the Earth representatives, their faces pale and tired. After all that had happened, the wars they never fought, the fleets that vanished, the alliances that crumbled, they were here now, faced with the hard truth. Elias Vance looked at them with calm eyes. You asked why we did what we did, he said softly. Why silence? Why erasing entire worlds? Chancellor Neris stepped forward. Because we thought we were gods. Because we ignored your warnings. Because we believed arrogance was strength. Elias nodded. Exactly. He turned to a large window overlooking Earth's glowing rings. We built this future for one reason. To teach that arrogance has a price. We were weak once, just like you thought. But weakness is not failure. It is a lesson. A murmur ran through the room. Your silence was a warning, Elias continued. Not just for the Council, but for all who believed power came from noise and war. General Lorax clenched his fists. You erased whole races. That is not peace. Elias's gaze hardened. We erased what refused to learn. But peace. Peace is what we offer now. Ambassador Thalen spoke, voice steady. And if we accept? If we change? Elias smiled faintly. Then you join a new era. One built on respect, patience, and understanding. The room grew heavy with hope and fear. Later, Thalen walked outside, speaking quietly with Neris. Do you think they will forgive us? He asked. Neris looked at the stars. They don't have to forgive us. We have to forgive ourselves. That is the true price of arrogance. Nearby, Lorax watched the Earth rings pulse softly. We lost much, he said. But maybe we gained. Even more. In the distance, the black spheres, once symbols of fear, now floated peacefully in orbit. A final message echoed in every mind who listened. Arrogance builds walls. Humility builds bridges. Choose wisely. And so, the galaxy began to change. The Council, once proud and loud, became quiet and wise. Earth, once forgotten and mocked, became a teacher. And those who survived learned that true power is not in strength or weapons, but in knowing when to listen.